that once a week or like once every meet and greet. I'm like, I love when girls cry and feel that way because they always just say to me, because they know how much I love Taylor Swift, they're like, you're my Taylor Swift, and I just get it, and I go like,
totally.
And I can handle that once or twice a meet and greet, but Taylor Swift, it's like constantly, and it's just
Taylor Swift's everyone's Taylor Swift.
I'm not gonna say exactly. I'm not gonna say anything that she hasn't heard, that as someone else hasn't expressed to her, and I just feel like it would be too much of her energy exerted to calm me down and to make me feel okay about how much I'm freaking out.
You don't think
that she should put into a song?
You don't think you could play it cool at all?
I wouldn't want to because it's like
phony.
Yeah, she's given me so much authenticity. I wouldn't want to be like, oh hey,
I would love.
Nikki, what's your name?
Yeah. I would love to try to do that to her and see if she would be affected. Like, do you think anybody out there is ever like?
If you didn't tell her, she'd be like, "That's the biggest fucking loser alive."
Yeah,
because they know exactly who I am.
That's what I mean. Like, is there anybody maybe like a dad or like somebody older?
I don't think so.
Who were you?
I think
like I don't know. I don't think my dad would know.
No, really?
You wouldn't. Your dad wouldn't know Taylor Swift.
I almost guarantee it.
Is he no longer with
pretty,
us?
like,
or something? Like,
in terms of like being connected to the world, yeah, basically.
That's kind of fun. Do you ever give him like quizzes about like just people?
Actually, maybe I'm wrong because he started to listen to our podcast. So the only thing he would know would be us. Which is funny because he, but
this
like
is the
I
best
don't know by
ad
look.
placement ever.
She was in here last week. She's like, if you ever take that down, I'll fucking kill you.
It's the best. It's every single episode. You have that. I love her so much.
I was like, we can never move that now.
Yeah. I don't know if it was gonna be a permanent thing.
Oh,
and once Camille was like, don't you dare move that. Well, it's a permanent thing now.
Yeah. I met Jerry Seinfeld this past weekend.
I heard it was not only just meeting. It was like a.
It was
he's
like
a big fan of you.
Which I didn't expect, and I'm not bringing that up just to say that, but he is a huge fan of mine, and it was a real thing. And like,
you're totally just bringing it up to say. You literally brought it up out of nowhere, and it's
totally
okay.
Be like, I didn't want to, because they were like, we were both playing at the Borgata. He was doing a bigger room, obviously, and they were like, my tour manager was like, if you could meet Jared, do you want to? And I was like, I don't want to bother. Like, again, I love him too much. It's going to be too much of me being like, you don't know what it means to me. You know.
And he's openly a little bit of a dick when he's like, you know, he's like clowned fans before, and he'll openly kind of.
I don't want to be Kesha.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't need this. And he was right in that moment. And I think she's even coming out as like, that was really gross of me. But, so I didn't want to meet him, and then I heard that he wanted to meet me, and I was like, I mean, of course then. And I'm like, right away. And so we go to meet him, and but he was, I felt the same way walking into that. Like, what am I going to say that he hasn't heard?
How can I impress him? Or
like just how do I get through to him to let him know that it's not just like talk, that I really like loved him more, like he formed
Well, how about this?
What's
something that somebody could say to you that would get that point across? Would it be like a reference from your old comedy? Would it be a reference?
You know, when people say to me, when women or men, it's usually like older people, like people that are older than me are just like, you just keep doing what you're doing. Keep talking the truth. Like, keep being honest. Like, that's the kind of thing that gets, because that's all I want to do. Like, it makes me feel like they know me when they're like, you speak the truth, like, keep going. Like, don't let and then it makes me realize, like, oh, there's lots of hate for
That's
me.
what I hate when they say that. Like, don't let the haters get to you.
Like,
I didn't even know about it.
I don't know about it either. I don't.
You didn't have to take the curtain off. Like, I have
the amount of people
pretty
that come up
separation
to us
of church and state
and say, like, I don't really understand it, man, but I love you. Like, I don't get why everybody else doesn't, but I'm totally, like, a huge fan. I'm like, there was just no need for that first half of the sentence.
Yes.
No need.
There was some,
I know
like,
you think you're doing something nice, but you're not.
Hottest comedian, like, you know, contest on Reddit in, like, the stand-up comedy thing, or like.
I'm sure that wasn't real toxic.
Yeah, exactly.
Reddit plus
and people
comedy
just go,
plus
you're in the finals,
tour.
and kept sending it to me, and I'm like, I don't want to know this. Like, it's just, I don't want to.
But hey,
just,
finals.
Hey.
Let's go.
Me and Sarah Silverman. I mean, I was like, I'm happy to take second place in that. But no, but then at the same time, when I was talking to Jerry backstage, and we were talking about how the finale of his show, I told this story just to kind of, I felt like, this story kind of encapsulates how much I love Seinfeld. I was like, in 8th grade, my algebra teacher let me have, Friday was supposed to be our test for the end of the year or whatever, and Seinfeld was airing their finale on Thursday night, and I couldn't do anything that night. It was about Seinfeld for me, and he knew how important it was for me. So he said, you can take the test on Monday.
That's a good story. That's something I think we get through to Jerry.
That's how much
I don't think he's ever heard that before.
In 8th grade, a girl in 8th grade loved Seinfeld. So I told him, he goes, well, I'm sorry about the finale and how bad it was. And I go, no, I loved it. Like,
I never had a problem with the finale.
People hated it because it was a departure from.
What did he? So he agrees that it was bad?
No, No, he just goes, I'm
I
sorry,
know
because
that
he's
people-
heard so much.
Yeah.
Then we were talking about it, and he said the reason that he did that episode, which, if you remember, it was like they are making fun of a fat guy, and then he gets robbed.
Samaritan law.
Yeah, Good Samaritan law. And then they all
Massachusetts.
go to prison, right?
But it allowed every single person to come back.
Yes.
And
But what he was doing with that was listening to the critics, because the critics constantly were doing all these pieces about the end of Seinfeld and how these are bad people. It's a show about people who are selfish and who are bad. And he listened to that and he goes, well, then if they're bad people, there needs to be redemption. We need to punish them. And so he wrote this whole finale based on what critics were saying when he looks back and he goes, really, they're just people. Comedy is selfish. There was no need to punish them.
I hate that. We actually kind of talked about this recently with The Office, with Mindy Kaling when she was out promoting Sex Lives of College Tours, Sex Lives of College Girls season 2. She said that The Office could never work today because everyone.
Oh, I heard your take on this and I loved it.
Everyone is so toxic and like they'd all be canceled. And I was like, they're all just fucking regular ass people.
Yes.
And same thing with Seinfeld. Like they're not assholes. They have assholery moments. But
It's
like
comedy.
Very largely,
It
there's
should be kind of teetering on that line of cancelability.
But we've also like hit this stage in the world where like everything is bigger than what it is. If that makes sense. Like I was reading a thread today about why don't we know where Wayne Industries gets their money from, because they might be the problem too.
in Batman?
It's a fucking story, dude.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what are you talking about? It's like we don't even know.
Joker's right.
It's like we don't even know where Wayne Pharmaceuticals gets their money. Like Wayne Pharmaceuticals could be like, and I was like, what
so
the fuck
annoying.
are you talking? You don't have to make fiction nonfiction.
Yes.
Just
I
let
love
it be fiction.
bad people. I like
Batman's never made a statement on 9/11. Like he didn't have a part to do with it, probably.
Maybe Batman was behind 9/11. You ever think about that? Never think about that.
it is like it's funny to me that you can get canceled for saying jokes that if you wrote like I constantly am watching Veep. It's kind of my boyfriend and I call it a Golden Gate Bridge show that as soon as you end it, you start finishing it again. Like you start again. Like you're constantly painting the bridge.
Yeah.
You know,
The thing with HBO Max too is that it doesn't stop, so you just wake up and it's just on again.
Keeps
I'm like,
going.
best,
Let's go.
and the jokes are so horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, like the things they joke about everything. I mean, but if you were to say that as like a comedian, you would get canceled for any of those jokes that they say on there. But because they're characters that are awful, you get away with it. But someone had to think it.
I was gonna
and
say
write
that's
it.
a writer.
But
That's somebody, a real human,
I
thought that was
love-
funny.
I have recently, like on stage, just been kind of, after you've been doing it so long, you're like, what do I want to talk about? And I'm just like, I just want to be really honest with my thoughts, because my thoughts, I can't help my thoughts.
Right.
Like I can't help some of the dark shit I think of, and I don't like it. So I think I want to cancel my dark thoughts, but the fact that there's no thought, there's no thought place. There's about to, like, they're trying to make it that, but like the things I'm thinking, like I talk about, like one of the first jokes I wrote, because I remember when I first started writing comedy, I was like, oh, that moment stands out to me as like a sick moment in my life when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, maybe 5th, John Benet Ramsey, when that happened. I remember my first reaction, because she was so pretty, was good. Like that was, and for so long I couldn't do that joke. But it's not a joke.
Another one down that I don't have to compete with.
But the thing is, the truth of that is like, it's
that's
true.
funny. That's funny.
And every girl knows that feeling of like a pretty girl, and you're like, kind of wanting something bad to, like, of that jealousy. And I think that
Relatable.
watching Bill Burr recently has inspired me. He did this one joke about how everyone's like so into body positivity and like, Lizzo, go girl, and it's like, because you're not threatened by them. This whole thing. And even though that I do believe in body positivity, I love that they love their bodies. There's so much truth to that, and you can't get mad about it. And I think now I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna share like my darkest thoughts, because I can't help them. I don't like that I have them.
I was
I'm
gonna
trying
say, you're
to
not like
fight
standing by, like digging your heels in by
like
a
we should
take,
kill
like,
pretty women.
Yeah, no, it's just like,
I'm like,
my brain's a little fucked
there's
up.
a part of my brain that gets a little happy when something tragic befalls
Dude.
a beautiful girl.